And now for the Star-Spangled Banner.
Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Isn't he amazing? Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for our, where did he go? Right here. So next year, he's been trying and he's going to be singing the Pakistani national anthem as well.
Yes.
So we're going to have that next year. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Welcome to TCF 13th Annual Gala. We appreciate our TCF family because they are always here. This family, that especially the splash zone right here, has been here for 2 decades. Even before we had our first gala, they were here and they've been supporting ever since. So ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for each and every one of you, because you are our TCF family. '20 was a weird year for us because we had the pandemic. And as 2021 came around, we said, things are improving, we're getting back to normal. However, we didn't realize there was an economic issues that were going to come around, which certainly hurt us during the process. But in Pakistan, in 2022, has had the worst floods the country has ever witnessed. Just think about the entire state of California is underwater. Just last week, I'm a Floridian, and we witnessed the worst hurricane that hit us last week. And it devastated some parts of Florida as well. Pakistan over a month ago got the worst floods ever. But this year, we could not wait for October 8th to start raising funds, because every single person that's sitting here knows about what happened. And I'm proud to say that most of the people that are sitting here stepped up. And they stepped up because there are various organizations that started working on the ground in Pakistan, raising funds for floods. And I'm proud to say the Washington community itself raised over $300,000 even before we stepped foot in this gala today.
Indeed, and you would be pleased to learn that of that more than $300,000 raised by our friends prior to the start of this gala just for flood relief, and this is separate from all of the tickets and tables and all of that, this is just dedicated for flood relief, 200,000 of that were raised by teenagers, our next generation. Two high school girls, Hana Rashid and Samara Islam, whose parents are dear friends, they were moved to see all the devastation in Pakistan, a country they had just recently visited with their parents. So they started an online campaign to raise funds with a target of 50,000. They were able to raise 70,000. Their parents matched it. So that was $140,000 that those two girls raised by themselves. That inspired other teenagers, including my own son, who just last week started a more modest campaign with a target to raise 25,000. And thanks to the generosity of many of you here and our other friends, not only did he meet the target in 2 days, but he exceeded it, and within 3 days had raised $40,000. In addition, some Pakistani American and other executives from Salesforce reached out to us, and they rallied their own employees. They contributed another $25,000. So these are just examples of how people in the community, including our children, when they come together, they can make a big difference. So we already have a tremendous start before we even start the fundraiser tonight. So thank you all for your generosity again. In terms of TCF's effort towards flood relief, TCF has been in Pakistan since 1995, and while their mission is to educate children, anytime there's a natural disaster, they step up. There were the earthquakes of 2005, the floods of 2010. So several times in the past, they lend their infrastructure, their staff, their students, their employees to help the communities that are impacted. This year, the initial goal, just the initial goal for TCF is to provide 5 million meals, rebuild 9,000 homes that have been affected, and rehabilitate around 100 schools that have been impacted by the floods. And you would think 5 million meals, that probably is $5 to $10 million, and 9,000 homes, and that's a lot of money. But just to give you an example of how far your American dollars go in rural Pakistan, the total cost of all of this, 5 million meals, 9,000 homes, and 100 schools, take a guess, you're probably thinking $50 million. No, it's only $4.5 million. That's how far your dollars go. That will change millions of lives, and 4.5, that's like the cost of 2 nice homes in DC. So if we step up a little bit more, we can make a huge difference to those poor people struggling over there. So thank you again to all of you for coming every year and for continued. Your generosity is already, the TCF DC Gala is known all over the world for its legendary generosity, and I'm sure tonight will be no exception.
Washingtonians will certainly step up tonight.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And finally, we have a couple of diplomats and dignitaries amongst us that have graced this evening, and I'd like to recognize and welcome them. The Ambassador of Pakistan to the United States, Mr. Masood Khan, and Mr. Chris Jester from the State Department, who's the Director of Pakistan Affairs. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to all of you again.
Thank you, Hasnain. Every single person sitting here is a dignitary because you came here, because you committed, and you committed for a long term. Thank you so much for being here. Pakistan is split into two worlds. A world which is privileged, and what we witness in America and UK and Australia, it's somewhat similar to what you see in Pakistan in some pockets, whether it's Karachi, Islamabad, Lahore, Peshawar. But then there's the other world. The other world where I guarantee you, a lot of people, including myself, have never been. The world that they live in is something completely different, something of dark ages to a certain extent. TCF's mission from day one has been to educate. Educate the children that have no chance of ever seeing an inside of a classroom. Never. The numbers are staggering. If I gave you the numbers, over 20 million kids will perhaps not get an education. TCF is one of the largest organizations in Pakistan that's actually making a difference and making a dent in that number. And today, because of that generosity, for your generosity, we're making that change. One question that people have always asked me, that how do they figure out where to put those schools? How do they go about doing that? So the answer is very simple, two things. A, there must be children who do not have a school. I guarantee you, you will not find a school in Defense Phase 5 or 6 or in the ritzy areas of Lahore. They will be in areas that you haven't heard of. Second, they need to make sure that those kids are ready to come to school. They do that research and they ensure. They might be smack in the middle of a very large city or the rural areas. But that can only happen. The different things that happen, whether it was a pandemic, it was a big disruptor, and now the floods. Our objective today is to get those kids back in school, get them educated, and grow the country. We're going to show you a short video that encapsulates the essence of what TCF is all about. Let's take a look.